Hello, what's that crack? What's that story? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out Want to Buy a Town. Okay, I'd love to buy a town. America's absolute massive, so I'm guessing there's gonna be loads of free land you can actually buy. That probably won't be that expensive. I'm guessing like 1 million for a town, maybe. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go.
What is going on, everyone? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wanted to own some land? Have you ever wanted to be the mayor of a town? Are you tired of following the rules and dancing for the man? Want to make your own rules and be the man? Well, if you said yes to all of those, this list is for you. There are towns in the United States that are for sale, and I'm not kidding. You can buy an entire town. Some are abandoned, some are not, but they're still for sale. It does sound weird that a town might be for sale, and I get it, but people have actually bought towns when they went up for sale. The actress Kim Basinger, at the time I think she was married to Alec Baldwin, bought a small town in Georgia not far from Atlanta in 1989. And just recently, in 2018, the small town of Tiller, Oregon was sold for under $4 million. The entire town, school, general store, all the property was sold. So this type of thing does happen.
Wait, what if you live there and they sell your town? What happens? Do I have the right, like if I buy a town, do I have the right to kick people out? Close the schools? I'm not gonna do that, obviously, but I'm intrigued. Let me know down in the comments, please. That's a really good question.
Those two may be off the market, but there's plenty still for sale. Let's take a look. Number 10, Swett, South Dakota. There's only one home standing on this 6-acre town on the southern border of South Dakota, and it's also said to be haunted. Swett was founded in 1931 by a farmer whose last name was Swett. No ego there, the dude's just out naming towns after himself, kind of weird, but okay. The property was passed from person to person over the years, and in 1998, a man named Lance Benson acquired the town. Benson later got a divorce, and part of the divorce agreement, he signed over the town to his ex-wife. In 2012, he reacquired the town, and in 2014, he offered it for sale for the sum of about $400,000. The town sale became international news. I guess anytime you're going to sell a town, people want to know about it. In October 2015, the bank that was actually holding the mortgage foreclosed on the town, and the property was lost by Mr. Benson to the bank. Anyway, they offered it up at a reduced price of $250,000 in 2015. There's nothing to do here
I think that's so cheap. Imagine you can just buy a town and just go do wherever. Like if I had that kind of money, I would buy the town and just fly my family out there. We get to do anything we want. Have massive barbecues, have a little fun fair, get animals down, have massive parties. Come on. Well, if I should be allowed to. It's my town, isn't it? Yeah, I should be allowed. Let me know. Please, let me know what you guys think.
Except drink. Luckily, the only business in town is a bar. Currently, the town has 10 residents listed, and I guess there are nearby farms, but they're actually not living in, if you could call it, downtown Swett. Number 9, Calnavar, Nevada. Calnavar is off on a lonely stretch of Highway 95 surrounded by mountains and endless miles of Nevada desert. The town isn't far from the California-Arizona border, which is how it got its name. Nancy Kidwell is the owner, she's the mayor, the police chief, and she wants to sell the place. Nancy and her husband Slim bought the property in the 1960s, and if you can give her $8 million, the town, with its casino, general store, airstrip, and 250-ish residents, are now your problem. Strange little note about Nancy, she and her husband Slim sold airplanes at the Torrance Airport a couple miles from where I grew up. This is back before I was born. Elvis Presley filmed a scene of one of his movies in their sales office at the Torrance Airport, which, again, not too far from where I grew up. Slim was 30 years older than Nancy, and he passed away in 1983. Nancy did the only reasonable thing a grieving widow would do. She married his son a couple years later. Son from another marriage. Wasn't that weird? Anyway, Nancy knew how to keep it in the family. Sadly, they hadn't even got to the 7-year itch part before Slim Jr. passed away after 5 years of being married to Nancy. I think they need to start investigating Nancy. I'm just kidding. Number 8, Johnsonville, Connecticut. Founded in 1802 on the Salmon River, about halfway between Hartford and the Long Island Sound, you have Johnsonville. Nothing really went on here for like 30 years. Then in 1932, the Neptune Mill was constructed beside a...
I think this is probably going to be more expensive because Connecticut, how do you say? I'm saying it right. Because it's more of a affluent area, isn't it? Affluent city. Is it a city or a town? Connecticut, it's near New York, isn't it? I think so. Because people... I've seen a lot of shows where people tend to leave New York City and move to Connecticut, and it's meant to be like close to it. Let me know. Are they really close to each other? But yeah, my guess would be it's gonna be a bit more expensive because it's closer to New York and all that, and it's a very affluent city. Yeah, let's go.
a dam just north of the Salmon River Cove. And that's about all that happened until about 1965 when Raymond Schmidt, the controversial owner of AGC Corporation, and it was an aerospace manufacturer, bought the Net2 mill from the Johnson family. He also purchased other vintage buildings and had them moved to Johnsonville, including a Victorian stable and chapel which hosted weddings. So it was kind of like this rural tourist thing. But by the mid-1990s, the town was pretty much abandoned. The village went up for sale at an online auction on October 28th, 2014. The winning bid was $1.9 million on October 30th, 2014. Now here's the thing. That was just 2 days later. That deal fell through. Okay, so the village went up for sale again on online auction, and on July 7th, 2017, the Philippine-based independent Christian organization Iglesia Ni Cristo bought the village for $1.85 million. Now we'll talk about them on this list again.
Yeah. See, I can tell what they're trying to do. If you want something private, because they have rights to do whatever they want to do in that town. Imagine being able to move your whole congregation. Because I think someone else did this then back in the 70s. There was some cult that they moved to like a little town. Did they buy the town or just moved? I can't remember what it was. I watch a lot of documentaries, so I'm really seeing this kind of stuff. I love this kind of things. And I can't remember. I think they bought, I think it was an Indian. I think was it Sikh? Was he Sikh? I can't remember. He bought the little town or little village, and they kind of brought people there, and they had like, I can't remember. I don't think it was a cult. I can't remember what they had, but I think he got arrested in the end. I can't remember. But yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, comment below, please. Thank you.
Number 7, Henry River Mill Village, North Carolina. If this North Carolina town looks familiar, it's because this abandoned community served as the location for Katniss Evergreen's home in the movie The Hunger Games. Actually, I think it was in all of them. Anyway, it started out as a town, not a movie set, in 1904 when they laid out the mill and the village on a 1,500-acre plot of land. It was chosen for its hydropower potential. It was right next to the river, so it's kind of a no-brainer. The mill was incorporated as the Henry River Manufacturing Company in 1905. In 1912, a steel truss bridge was built across the Henry River, which helped the community grow. When it was completed, it was supposedly the highest bridge in the state of North Carolina. During a 1916 flood, it was like the only bridge that wasn't washed away. In 1960, a new concrete bridge replaced the steel truss bridge, and the rest is history. In 1977, though, the mill burned down. Lighting was the suspected cause. If you want to purchase this little piece of the Hunger Games, it'll set you back about $1.4 million. That's the 72-acre town's current asking price.
That's not too bad. I feel like it's not. The fact that there's a bit of history to it. Do you know what I mean? Hunger Games, and when everything got washed away, and that it still stayed the same. I like that. I like that, a bit of history to it. So was it 1.4 million? That's not too bad for it, in my opinion, anyway.
Number 6, Toomsboro, Georgia. Besides having a really sketchy sounding name, Toomsboro is a little town in Georgia, and most of the properties of Toomsboro are owned by a developer named David Baumgartner. He bought some of the properties at auction around 2002. Baumgartner intended to turn Toomsboro into a nice little, place for retired tourists ahead, nice little quiet town. Things didn't work out as planned. They rarely do. In April 2012, Baumgartner announced that he was seeking a buyer for the properties. Kind of floated the idea that this would be a great place for a movie production company to set up shop and use it as a film set. Apparently he thinks it's better looking than it is. In September of 2018, 36 pieces of property, it's over 40 acres, went up for sale. The asking price was $1.7 million. I've looked at the place. I don't know why they're asking $1.7 million. Anyway, whoever buys it, they want them to be preservation minded. Someone who appreciates history. So they're trying to sell the land, and they're also putting stipulations on it, like total control freaks. Anyway, it is estimated that around 450 people still live here. Number 5, Scenic, South Dakota.
Please, I need to know what happens to the people that lives there when people buy it. Please, do me as a buyer, as the owner of the town, do I have the right to kick people out? I'm not gonna do that. Please, just asking for a friend, okay?
Named for its location in the center of the Badlands National Park, Scenic fell on pretty hard times around the 1960s or 70s before it was finally put up for sale. In July of 2011, the 12-acre town and the surrounding area, about 46 acres in total, were listed for sale for almost $800,000. The 12-acre town still looks like the Old West type thing. You're expecting someone to have a gunfight in the middle of the street. It comes complete with the old-style saloon, dance hall, and cowboy barracks. Yeehaw! In August 2011, that church from the Philippines that bought that other property, well, they bought this one for nearly $800,000. At least that's what the county records show. The church never said what they bought the land for or what they planned on doing. In 2014, Daniel Simmons Ritchie of the Rapid City Journal wrote that the church has done little with the town since its purchase. The following year, they start having services in the town, and, I watched some videos, and the townspeople were not happy about it. Not like there's a whole bunch of townspeople there, but the ones they talked to they weren't into it. Anyway, the word cult kept popping up when I went down that rabbit hole of reading about this place. I don't know much about them, but that seemed to be the theme of most things I read about this church. Number 4, Milliken, Oregon. Named after its founder, George Milliken, who was a cattle rancher, miner, and international playboy. Just kidding. He's just a pioneer that came from New York around 1860 sometime. I don't even think he ever left the United States. Anyway, the town has 74 acres of property, a post office, a gas station, and an old store. Really not a lot going on here, but it was established around the late 1880s. Milliken housed 60 residents at its peak in the early 1900s. Most of them took off after World War I. Since then, it's had an on and off population of 1. It's like some dude keeps leaving and coming back, like he can't make up his mind. Like maybe one.
Actually, a quick question for you guys. Can you see all this little it's a desert? Like, are you able to buy this? Because you see this in movies where people drive for like hours to, I don't know, I-5, I-6, I-7, whatever you call it. Like, can I buy a piece of this kind of land? Is it possible? I think it'd be cool to just have a bit of it. Or like be like a little watchtower or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, let me know. Can you buy that? Can you do that? Let me know, please.
Wants to live in Portland, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he wants to live in Bend, maybe he doesn't. Keeps coming back to be by himself, apparently. It went up for sale a decade ago, but it didn't sell. It was relisted in July of last year for $1.5 million. Number 3, Woodside, Utah. Woodside, Utah is a little speck of nothing in the Utah desert, and it's for sale. Woodside was a train stop for a while with an underwhelming geyser. Woodside peaked around 1910 when they had 328 people living there. Sometime around 1911, somebody said, "Why the hell are we all living here? We need to leave because this place sucks. We are so far away from everything, nobody comes to visit us, and we have a geyser with performance anxiety." By 1920, its railroad station and livestock shipping facility were moved to another town, and, that was pretty much it for the town. And that was like the death sentence for the town. A decade later, the population dropped to 30 people. The empty town went up for sale in 2012, but no serious buyers wanted to pay the asking price, which means if you got a little coin in the bank, you could still get this gem in the Utah desert for $3.9 million. Yeah, you heard me right. There's nothing here. It's not that big, and they want $3.9 million. Number 2, Garryowen, Montana. Garryowen is a steal. I don't care who tells you anything different, it's a steal, and I'll tell you why. It's got a population of 2, so not that many people to evict. And it's historic. Garryowen.
Wait, is Garryowen not some... He's a comedian, isn't he? Sounds like a comedian. He's a white comedian, isn't he? Yeah, I like him. Yeah, I think. Is it Garryowen? Yeah, I think so.
Garryowen is a private town in Bighorn County, Montana, and it's located on the southernmost edge of where Sitting Bull's campsite was prior to the Battle of Little Bighorn. And the opening gunshots of the battle were fired just a few hundred yards from where all of Garryowen's structures stand today. So it happened right there. It was not like this one little confined area, but the monument's right down the road too, so that's kind of cool. You could own this little bit of history on the same land where Colonel George Armstrong Custer choked his last stand against the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes. Garryowen, Montana can be yours. I might do it. And number 1, Hell, Michigan. Hell, Michigan is a real place. Hell is an unincorporated community in Livingston County, Michigan. Huh, that's weird. It's in Michigan. I always thought Hell was using a restroom after my cousin's ex-wife. Hell, Michigan has a lake, hiking trails, you could be the mayor for a day, and they have an annual Blessing of the Bikes event. All this heavenly goodness can be yours for just $900,000. Now, I'm not sure the particulars on this one.
I think that's cheap. You get a lake as well. And hiking trail as well. 900,000. That's very cheap, I think. Let me know. Please. Because I'm just speculating here. I think these are cheap prices. For a town, I'm buying a town. I own a town. I think that's cheap. But yeah, let me know.
Because back in 2017, a YouTuber named Elijah Daniel bought part of the town and changed the name to Gay Hell. It was a protest about some stuff that was going on in the government. I won't get into it. Anyway, they never disclosed what the deal was, if they would keep the name or what, but it's still called Hell, Michigan on Google Maps and everywhere I look, so I'm sure they dropped it by now, or if it was just a 1 day, 1 month thing. Who knows? They're kind of tight-lipped on it. I think hell will freeze over before we get all the details. I don't know what the hell they were thinking when they did this. Alright, that's enough.
Wow, that was so good. That was so good. I'm gonna put a link to the channel. I love this channel, man. Beautiful channel. But yeah, I was so shocked about some prices, man. I was expecting like 20 million. Actually, no, not even 20 million. But like 50 to 100 million. Because these are towns. Or maybe it's because you guys have a lot of land in the US. There's so much land that you can actually buy places. You can literally live in you can have a 50-acre land, but with like just one building. While in the UK, you can have like 40, 50 houses on a lane, detached houses. No, yeah, you can have them literally right beside each other. But yeah, it's crazy how we live. We live in a different lifestyle, we want to call it. But let me know what videos you want to check out, and I'll definitely check it out. I love videos like this to explore, look at different cultures, different traditions, different countries. I absolutely love it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye bye.